Hello future tech leaders, I am Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
On the same context, in order to maintain your data integrity or in order to reduce the wastage given for duplicate cases and all, there comes one more concept called temporary cases. Temporary cases are something which are not stored in the database, but still they would be available on the clipboard. Let me give you a simple scenario. Suppose you have placed an order with Amazon, and until you receive it, you will be tracking it multiple times. You would check where it has reached, at what time it is available. You will be checking it multiple times. For each tracking order, should I create a transaction for it? You are just tracking it. I can have those kinds of transactions as temporary cases. Temporary cases do not have a transaction ID. They do not have a unique identifier. They do not have a case ID. They are just stored in the clipboard until and unless maybe some condition is met. We are talking in terms of customer here. Assume you want to get your new address updated on the banking portal. What do you call the customer service and you will say that I would like to update my address. Please take the details. You will give them your details and by surprise, whatever details you have, they are already available on the banking portal. All this transaction, it has to be a case instance. I mean talking as a business scenario, it is a transaction that you have carried out. All of this has to go and sit in your database. But as the address is saved, the purpose is served. This is converted to a temporary case. Until and unless there is an appropriate situation, we will have the cases to be temporary. Only after your conditions are met, you will persist or you will have case details being stored on the databases. How we are doing this is to save a lot of space and also to make sure system's performance is high. And again, there is no point having all cases as temporary cases. Then it means there is nothing on your DB. Everything is on the clipboard. Again, that is also persist. All cases should not be temporary throughout. There should be some cutoff where you decide. At this point, I will convert my temporary case to a permanent case. That is done using your persist case shape. Until and unless some permission is met, we will make it a temporary. Once it is met, only then I will turn it to be a permanent case. Just to give a simple example here, now we design the duplicate case search. Until and unless this case is not duplicate, I will design it as a temporary case. And once I identify that it is no longer a duplicate, only then, whenever I design a case as a temporary case, I will no longer get any case ID. But how do I do this? Where should I do this? I don't have a separate shape here, but I should be doing it on the settings of my case type. How do we do this? I'll go to my case settings. Earlier, the temporary case setting would just be available directly on the availability option here. We used to get it directly on the case level settings, but probably, I think from 8.5, we are having it on the rule directly. Your case type rule. I'll go back to my App Explorer. My PY start case is there. That's where I will have my case as a temporary case. Case type rule. This is my process. Let me open this PY default. Here on my PY default, I've gone to the Advanced tab where, yes, here is your query case. Now, I would like to have my cases temporary. You can no longer have any routing associated with it. One operator works on it. Let me see what happens. Let me refresh it. See now, even though I moved on to the second stage, I still don't see any case ID being generated because your case is a temporary case. I would like to just proceed and see if I see any case ID being generated. The case is going to be a temporary case. Finish the entire transaction with just a temporary case. I need to store this at least at some point of time. That's where we use the persist case shape. Once you make sure that your transaction has reached a particular point where you don't want it to be a temporary case longer, that's where you decide, and you can have your persist case shape. Now, in this scenario, once I decide my case is no longer a duplicate, I would like to persist it. For that, I would like to do more automations. And there is a yes, here is my persist case. This converts a temporary case into a permanent instance. And this has to be immediate. And there's no configuration to make, but this has to be immediate to my duplicate case. Once I identify it's no longer a duplicate, I would like to persist it. Let's see this scenario now. Let's assume I'll get some random number here. This is no longer a duplicate. Here I'm giving you entirely different details here. My case, even though it is currently a temporary case, we'll see what happens. Yes, your case. ID coming up. And it is through the duplicate case search, and the system also converted it to a permanent case. And I see this. Let's type the negative scenario. I'll give in the exact same details now. The case is temporary, no case ID. And it says it could be a potential duplicate. With respect to all of these, if I close this as a duplicate, then the case just remains as a temporary case. There's no case ID generated. You are saving a lot of space with respect to your database. Likewise, you can have your own specific requirements on when it has to turn into a permanent case and when it has to be a duplicate case. Search. And again, just adding one more point here is the system is not going to decide that this is a duplicate. It will only show you some suggestions saying it might be a potential duplicate. The choice again lies with the human interaction only. The person who's responsible for looking at these things. He will decide whether he can proceed with the transaction or should he resolve the case. I mean, these two are like very simple things, yet a bit tricky. Both the aspects of temporary case, duplicate case search, and persist case shifts. And finally, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel.